civic education. Nipe tunapanga Malawi yangu pioneers. We used to learn in class Malawi yangu pioneers. Ministers, we could know who is the president, who is the current minister of education, who is the minister of agriculture. Do you know you people? Even in interviews, you go to an interview, one question will come, who is the minister of finance? And you answer. Eh? Civic education. Anyway, the commercial courts belong to the judiciary. You know, judiciary, there are three arms of government. There's president, parliament, and there's the judiciary. In the judiciary, there's the Supreme Court, and there's the High Court, magistrate, the magistrate court, under the same magistrate, the industrial relations court, and also commercial court. Below this, I don't know what is there. But this is all part of the judiciary. That's it. When we say the judiciary. So, the commercial court shall have jurisdiction. You know what we mean by jurisdiction? Jurisdiction. Jurisdiction means powers to deal with, responsibility, jurisdiction. So the commercial court will have jurisdiction to try all suits and applications relating to commercial disputes of a specified value arising out of the entire territory of the state over which it has been vested territorial jurisdiction. If we follow the British law, like England, Wales, Birmingham, each one of these have their own jurisdiction as far as courts are concerned. Here, Malawi is just like a county, not country. It's like a county, it has its own jurisdiction. So taking that, we call ourselves an entire territory because we are still under the British government. That time, Mukumba, it was Rhodesia and Nyasra. As one country, it was Rhodesia, Northern Rhodesia, Southern Rhodesia, and Nyasra. So we were Nyasra as a territory. So what happened is the commercial court under the judiciary, there is the Supreme Court, High Court, then there is Magistrate Court, Industrial Relations Court, Commercial Court. They are at the same level. So they try all cases or disputes that arise out of commercial transactions over certain value. In fact, there are thresholds. You know what a threshold is? Threshold. Like, I can have a show plate. I'll say, if somebody comes to buy something more than 10,000, don't handle it, bring it to me. But less than 10,000, you can handle that. There's a threshold. If anything above a certain amount, no. So commercial courts will be eligible to try suits or applications for litigation of any amount that is not beyond the threshold. Here I have not specified the actual threshold, but in their act, they even say above this, send it to the High Court. You understand what I mean? So certain lawsuits will be for the commercial court. Now, what it means is that what it means is that it involves two commercial entities that which agree in some part of the business agreement or contract. One or both parties will file their claim as a lawsuit and rely on the courts to settle the disagreement. As I was saying, in commercial transactions, I think we did hear about this. There's always likelihood or potential disputes. Just like the example I gave, if I bought a mobile phone from Ketwai, in trust, I would think that that mobile phone is a good phone, isn't it? But as I go home, after I have paid, I discover that it is faulty. Will there not be any dispute between him and me? There will. So a dispute like that, the minute a client comes to me and says, you sold me a wrong what? Phone. I will say, no. My phones are okay. I never had any problems with them. I bought them from Dubai or whatever. They are all clean. You have probably exchanged my phone with a 41. So there is a dispute. But you can take that dispute to court. And the court will look at the statement from you, statements from him. They will even investigate if need be and find out who is wrong. Invariably, in most instances, if you buy something from somebody, you have paid the money. It's very rare that you can come back and say, your thing is not working when actually it is working. Is that not so? Because you buy, you want to use it. But if it is faulty, you have all the right to go back and claim for damages. So, one or both parties may file their claim as a lawsuit. You know, lawsuit is a claim. And rely on the court to settle the agreement. How does the court settle the agreement? Can someone guess? The court. The court will weigh the evidence from one party and the evidence from the other party. Can you do it so that it doesn't switch off? My expert. Can you do it so that it doesn't switch off? You can, eh? Do it so that it doesn't switch off. Eh? So that's the lawsuit. As we were saying, when you are having a lawsuit, it's good if I have experts in this class. I'll be using them. Very good. System power battery. Oh. So you have put that 12. Good guy. So that's the statement. So then, if we want to see whether this case is typically commercial or not, we consider commercial litigation. You know the word litigation, legal proceedings. Litigation means legal proceedings. Commercial or business litigation is the civil litigation involving one or more business entities as parties. I think you remember the civil, criminal. You remember the civil, the criminal. These things are important because later on, when we come to exams, we do look at what you mean by the way you use your diction. We have civil and we have criminal. So civil, this one, felonies. These are torts, felonies. These are also misdemeanors. You remember misdemeanors? Or civil cases. Or we can call them what? No harm to anybody. While these felonies are criminal because they are crimes against the state. An example I gave was that assuming me and my girlfriend, we have wronged each other, and I become very, very angry. And I want to hang myself in a tree. The minute people come and rescue me from hanging myself in a tree, if I'm still alive, the minute the state hears about it, they will actually try me under criminal because the state has interest in me. If you murder somebody, that is criminal. The state has interest. If you burn a building, even if it is not built by government, by anybody, it is still criminal because the state has interest. But if it is just wanitukwana, wandisiachkwati, those are not criminal offenses. So most of the offenses that we get in commercial law are what? Civil than criminal. But we did, you remember when I was discussing criminal versus civil law, we said there are times when this can generate to become what? Criminal offense. Okay? So, commercial litigation, as we say, is civil litigation involving one or more business entities as parties to the case. Typically, the area of law being litigated is specialized due to the nature of the parties involved. Of course, if the parties is me and the Indian, of course it will be civil. My friend, it is still switching off. Okay? So, are we clear about what a commercial court is and what it does. We are together. Let's see what else. I started with the commercial court because the discussions next are linked to it. For instance, adjudication of offences in commercial courts. We will see that adjudication is a process by which a court judge, mostly in a commercial court, resolves issues between two parties in breaches arising from commercial transactions. You know the commercial transaction? Buying and selling of goods. I buy something from you, you give me money. I give you money, you give me the good. That transaction does have a potential to have a dispute. Adjudication hearings are similar to the arbitration. You remember arbitration? I think I mentioned about it. Who can remember about arbitration? There are two important issues about arbitration. Do you remember? Someone should try. Arbitration.
Arbitration. The person who acts as a third party. Arbitration is like a person who acts as a third party in the case.
Arbitration is a process, is the act, it's a method of resolving the dispute. But as a process for resolving the dispute, first and foremost, the parties to the arbitration agree in advance. That's the first thing. Secondly, you agree, whatever the arbitrator will have decided is the resolution. All of us will agree with it. Those are the two very important points about arbitration. First, you must agree to that Akoswe or Mkapakati. Secondly, tikakambirana. Whatever the arbitrator, the third party will decide to say this is the solution, it will be binding on us. So, in arbitration, you find that there are hearings similar to arbitration where hearings involve money, whether it's money and valid infrastructure and resulting distribution rights and whatever regulations for parties involved in it. This is just describing what is involved. In other words, adjudication, which is a popular fast-track alternative dispute resolution process, it is important because it obtains a legally binding third-party decision on issues taking approximately 28 days. So in arbitration, according to the law, you don't exceed 28 days, you are still arbitrating. It means within the 28 days, you must come to a resolution. What it means is that, first of all, if adjudication is similar to arbitration, the two parties to a case must agree that we should have an also. Secondly, we must know in advance that whatever Kosoja Azanene Tigwizan those two. And in arbitration, it is fast because it only will take 28 days. The advantage of this is that it is speedy, it's a speedy resolution and lower cost. It costs less compared to normal court proceedings in achieving enforceable decision. And therefore, it is popularly preferred to normal court proceedings. In other words, when they put up commercial law and commercial courts to deal with these matters under arbitration, they want to make sure that every time you are doing a case, it is resolved as quickly as possible. Okay? There's one statement which I use, which is similar to this, is that in industrial relations, when I'm teaching there, I say, anytime there is a problem, anytime that there is a problem, we must make sure it is quickly what? Resolved. Anytime there is a problem, quickly resolve it. Because if you don't, what does the problem do? Starts getting bigger. A problem would have been like this. But if you don't resolve it quickly, it starts growing. It's like what we call Zozamma Iziwa. Bara. Bara is the roti. Then Chuka, you are not dealing with it or treating it. Later on, Sika Bora, Sika Choka. Matija Mchicheni. Zoza. Afezo Mchitumbu. Zoza. So, arbitration makes sure that you don't have Zoza in the dispute. It's quickly resolved and you finish. As you fail to finish it, like the Israeli-Gaza war, it starts becoming bigger and bigger, even failing to get finished. So this is the biggest advantage of using arbitration. As I said, the second one, it tells you where the disputes arise. Money, infrastructures, I don't know what this means, resulting in distribution of rights and obligations for all parties involved, prescribed commercial and business contracts. All those are areas where the disputes arise. Money, transactions, where commercial transactions are reduced in form of a contract. You know, when you have a contract, you sign it. The contract has got obligations and responsibilities. If one of them breaches those contracts, it's part of the dispute. So there it talks about what is involved in disputes. Then, types of offenses handled by the commercial court. That we will now look at what I have written here. One of them, there are actually, in commercial and other laws, there are felonies, misdemeanors, and simple offenses. Remember, I've said them here. Okay? Felonies, misdemeanors, and simple offenses. A felony is any offense which is declared by law to be a felony or is punishable without proof of previous convictions, with death or with imprisonment for 3 years or more. So that is a felony. You know, a felony is criminal offense. Whereas the others are what? Torts of misdemeanors or simple cases. So, commercial law will deal with simple cases. Criminal offense or felonies in commercial law, these include common law offenses such as theft, swindling money. Do you know swindling money? Have you ever swindled money?
Money laundering.
Swindling. Ena no amaya mangosia kwa mambo basi nikakula swindling. That is swindling. And as you are a child, you are used to doing that, it starts becoming a habit. Okay? Swindling, breach of trust, yes. Corruption, money laundering, forgery, and use of forgery to obtain value. Remember, I was telling you, I don't know whether it was when I was in the bank, when I was joining, my signature was like this. Hey, then they started giving me promotion. I started being in charge of a lot of money. Up to that time, 1978, I was assistant manager. So I could, just my signature, 20 million would go. You know, business transactions, bills of lading, bills of. So they said, this signature, no. Everybody can sign that. And I know a lot of you ladies, you like to sign like this. Really? Good. Can you see? Is it difficult to swim to this one? Even me, we were getting good. Whatever we check, 12,000. Ndaichiona koyamba kachiviri nanesu chigari machanga nikasai nere muona. So I had to change. Hey, now you can't swim. My saying is hey, you can't. So, faith, forgery to obtain value, that's double. Also, but felonies carry stiffer punishments, penalties, including jail terms and more than 12 months of imprisonment. But here, this is rare because most of the commercial misdemeanors or torts, usually you pay damages or money. Most of the time you don't go to court. But if there is much abscondment of what the court has said, it turns into a felony. When it turns into a felony, it becomes a criminal offense. Okay? Then there are also misdemeanors. These are typically a crime punishable by payment of a fine or, in default, an imprisonment of less than 12 months in jail. Sometimes community service. Do you know what community service is? Have you ever heard of it? It's not common here, but in other countries it's very common. I only saw it once in London when I was in the bank. One of the bank supervisors, he colluded with some businessman, a taxi person out there. So they swindled money from the bank and got taxis. Gulama taxi in London. That was a joke to transact from Gulama taxi. Even he himself was had a very good gap when us, the seniors like me, assistant manager, couldn't even manage a Ford Escort. You know Ford Escort? Small little car. So they started investigating. When they found him guilty in court and they had evidence, they gave him community service. And you know what they said? You, from today, you will be a cleaner at your bank. You understand what I mean? Can you imagine you were a supervisor in the branch? Hey, you have been convicted, but every morning the car brought you with prison uniform. Oh, that's very degrading, isn't it? But I saw it. And that was a lesson. I said, me, I can't do this. I can't do this. So community service, they tell you, okay, you have misconducted, you are going to do community service, you are going to quit, kuchecha say, but the good thing with community service, akakula under passport, they allow you to stay. You can stay at your home, but every morning you go and do community service. Also probation. Do you know what probation means? Have you ever? These are very important. I hope you are taking notes because we want to know that you know commercial law. You know probation? Anyone who can try probation? Probation. I know that in employment, when you are employed, you are employed on probation. If you are employed on probation, means you are under observation. Now, in terms of courts, instead of sentencing you, they tell you for 5 months or 1 year, you should not commit another similar offense. You understand what I mean? You should never commit another similar offense. So they don't put you in jail, they don't charge you money, they just say from today, Karemba, I, the judge, sentence you to 12 months, but on probation, which means from now up to 12 months, please do not commit another offense of a similar nature. So what happens if you do commit within the 12 months? What will happen to you? There will be no lenience. They will just take it, throw you in for that remaining thing. So probation is what it means. Community service, now you know. Fines are very good. If you are chupa, no problem. Baringanya, that's 1 million mono a place. I can't go pay but sometimes they can even say, okay, pay fine, but also damages. If the case involves destruction of property, you can actually pay fine and also damages. Or it can be imprisonment for less than 1 year, where it is commonly issued punishment for commercial misdemeanors. Alright? Less than 1 year. So most of the cases in commercial, if they go to court, the period of imprisonment, if any, is less than 1 year. So those are misdemeanors. Then simple offenses, mostly administered under the magistrate court. These simple offenses are simple because their occurrence do not have a what? Someone sharp eyes. Threat, okay, a threat to anybody. You remember I said no harm to anybody. So simple cases have no threat to anybody. Yet, if there is a simple threat, it means it moves away. Indictable or not. Well, what they mean, not indict. To indict is to say, we suspect that you are wrong. We suspect that you have stolen money. That is an indictment. Eh? So either indictable or not, but punishable on summary conviction before justices, like fine, imprisonment, or otherwise, and includes regulatory offense. The court of summary jurisdiction, like a magistrate court, will deal with such types of simple offenses and minor offenses that cannot be dealt with by the High Court. For example, under a section of the Labor Code, common assault is a simple offense. Some penalties include community service, fine, or suspended services. Okay? Now, you can see I was talking to you about the levels of courts. There was High Court, the Supreme Court at the top, High Court, then you have Magistrate Court, Industrial Relations Court, and Commercial Court. Some of the cases that can be dealt with by commercial law can also be dealt with by the Magistrate Court. Are we together? We are, right? So, this, I think, is also a reminder on the criminal and
Thank you.
yeah. Can we go to the next subject now? Are we clear? Can we go to the next subject? Okay. Okay. The next subject is this one. Have you ever heard of this? You have heard of it? You have seen it, eh? Yeah. Digital signatures. Why do we teach digital signatures? First of all, a digital signature is an electronic encrypted stamp of authorization on digital information such as email messages, macros, or electronic documents. It's a digital signature. Now, what is important about a digital signature is that a manually administered signature, you can sign it on the spot. You have a paper and you sign it on the spot. A lot of what is being recommended is for all important documents to be signed in person and on the spot. That's why on signatures like contracts and so on, they have to make sure that it is printed, and after it is printed, you sign and you put the date, isn't it? Anytime you sign, you have seen that there is always a requirement that you should put the date. Why do you think it is? The signature which you do on the spot and you put a date is a verification that you have agreed with what is contained in that document at that particular time. Right? And usually it's under oath or a witness. Under oath, you know what an oath is? What is an oath? Oath. Rumbira. And how can you do that? No. Hey, I'm not doing that. Oh, I would have rumbira too. You, woman, you call me. Hey, you are good. From a kurundira mwengi kunena Bible or Quran. Or what else? Actually, I will tell you, in most of the courts, they will ask you, are you Christian or are you Muslim? If you are Christian, they give you Bible. If you are Muslim, they give you. So what if you say, Amen? Then, so how do you take the oath? How do you take the oath?
You swear on
Yeah, but do you know the importance of that oath taking? I did give you the example of my car accident. Gari accident, and you know how it finished. An oath, if you take an oath and you sign at that particular time, you have actually done it on behalf of the state. The state, that's why they are specially authorized officers. Abudi, that of oath, commissioner of oath. It can be a judge, it can be a magistrate, but you become a commissioner of oath. They've got a special stamp. After you have signed and put a date, they put that stamp to say, I, the judge, the commissioner of oath, have certified that he has actually warumira. So that has been a very big difficulty for some commercial transactions or business transactions. You can imagine you are dealing with a company in South Africa, or a company in Europe, or a company in London, and you want a contract. It will take a long time to physically sign, send, and also physically sign with witnesses, send it to a court. So they said, no, let's find a way of improving this. So one way of improving this is to have a digital signature, which is electronic, encrypted. You know what it means, encrypted? Encrypted. Google and find out what is encrypted. These things you can do. Google and find out what is encrypted. Okay, what is encrypted? Have you?
And
No. You have not?
Abandon.
Eh? Eh? Process of
encryption.
cipher. Encryption means a process of converting, converting what is a text into an electronic, uh, digital, whatever, to protect it from somebody copying.
Yes.
Now there are two ways of encryption. Encryption. The first one is digital. There is a digital signature. It's almost similar to what you have code. Similar code yaniyopita ukatengira nyorama. But if you use a code or a digital, electronic digital code, it means between you and the other person, you agree in advance to say between you and me, if I write 1952 to you, you know it is coming from me. It's not for everybody. It's only between the people who, that's also part of the inscription. But there is even more complicated than that, because Chimakarma, even to my barcode, anyway, it also has stamps of authorization on digital information such as email messages, macros, or electronic documents. That stamp which I said, the justice or the commissioner of oath, Akatinda D, you sign here. It means, now that one, they have even made it even electronic. I can show you mine. I can sign with my signature. Let me see if I can do it. I can sign with my signature. I will show you.
Sure.
These things we do it so that you don't forget. You will be supervisor, you will be manager, but you know Have you seen it?
Yeah.
This one is a digital signature. Yeah? I made it simpler. Now this signature, which you see here, if I write a document in the computer, I can take this signature and paste it there and it will go. The only difficulty is that someone, if he wants to sign it the way I sign it, it will be different from the way I would. And it will not pass through if they want to check. So you can have this signature. If I write a letter, I can write a letter very well. Okay, let me see. This is true. Okay. Msoka. Ready? I've written that letter. Simon, but I'm asked to sign, so I will go. Yes. Can you see? I've signed it. Did I sign it physically? I've signed it. I've written the whole letter, and that can be posted. I'm guessing. So when you be, there's a special tool which you use for making digital signatures. Eh? So there's a shorter way of making sure that you do exactly what we said should be done. So now the digital signature that we are talking about is a cryptographic output used to verify the authenticity data. What is authenticity? Yeah? Yeah, authenticity meaning confirming real original ownership. Authenticity, real original ownership. So a digital signature algorithm allows for two distinct operations: a signing operation, which uses a signature key to produce a signature over raw data. Just like what I was doing. I wrote my letter, at the end I put my name, and then I pasted my digital signature. So some digital signatures look like this one, but others, they will be in form of numbers. Or do you know what we know these zijatimachikajani? Kama burazi, kena kati amazita machine job, amazita barcode. Some of them are in form of a barcode. So these are digital signatures. Now, for us to understand more, how do we create one? You can practice the creation. One can create a digital signature using a body e-signature solution to create the signature. Simply click this. Now is my friend's area. Attachment. Was easy what? Eh? You are following. Can you explain to us? Because we are not an idea. Click and review link and opt to digital sign. You know, when you want to sign a digital signature, it gives you instructions. Secondly, from there, select the signature source and name, then sign your digital signature into the application. There is usually a page where you do edit. Have you ever done it before? No. Practice. Hey, you haven't practiced. Okay. Then next, you can preview or look at the signature itself to see whether it and authenticate it. If you are satisfied with how it looks, like mine. If it is not, hasn't come out nicely, you can do it again, isn't it? You can do it so many times until you come to something that you like. Other forms of digital signatures are other examples of digital signature created from a virtual fingerprint. That's a good one. In fact, it's a good one because it is the most commonly used. Do you know that despite that we are billions of people? Hey, how many billions is the population of the world? About 9 billion. If we are 9 billion, each and every one of us has his or her own unique fingerprints. Do you agree? Even if twins, you find that their fingerprints are different. So fingerprint has been one of the most commonly used digital signature, which they use even for opening doors. If you go to some offices, electronically high standard offices, doors, no one can go unless you put your one. So the machine there has collected information for all the staff inside the office. And it knows this is Kekwayo, this is Leno, this is. So you use fingerprints to open the door. Have you ever heard of that? You have seen it. Others use cards. But fingerprints have been most common and the most exact. The other example we can give as a digital signature is DNA. That one is the one that is very good. You know what DNA is? Huh? Yeah. Someone will say, will you see one wonder? DNA will show. This one is your child. Because fingerprints will be different. Hope ziko zikam different. But DNA, yeah. So fingerprints, that is unique to each and every person or entity, and which is used to identify each user to protect information in digital messages or documents. So fingerprints. That's why akakupitisha polisi ama akakutengezea fingerprints. In fact, as we are, you remember we have our. How were you getting your ID card?
National ID.
A national ID. Don't you know that you gave fingerprints? Those are stored in the computer world. Your fingerprints are there. Ukaba, if they know the ID number, they are going to find your fingerprint and compare with where things are being done. Another one, in emails, the email content itself becomes part of the digital system. You know the email? Your email is different. Her email is different. Another email is different. Except there is limitation.